Good evening to the Makah community. This message is in regards to the Makah tribe's COVID-19 pandemic response. This message is on behalf of the entire Makah Tribal Council, myself, TJ Green, Chairman, Vice Chairman Keith Johnson, Treasurer Patrick DePoe, Councilman John Itis Sr., and Councilman George Chad Beauchamp. We want to first mention a few things that are going on outside of our community, within our state and within the United States, so we realize how impactful this can be. So for the state of Washington, there's 2,580 cases so far. There's 132 deaths that have been reported in Washington state. And today we also learned that the United States has now surpassed China in total number of cases at 81,425 cases, and currently there are over 1,000 deaths in the United States. So because of those things, we want to remind you of what will help keep us safe here in our community and be good practices for us and our loved ones. So social distancing is certainly important. We've been through that, but we can't emphasize it enough. It's important to keep our distance from both family members, non-family members, when we're in our household and when we're out of our household. Stay at least 6 feet away and don't have those types of contacts. We want to shelter in place. There's a shelter in place order that the tribe has, and that is in effect until April 24th, and it could be adjusted as needed, either lengthened or shortened, depending on the conditions that are going on. So, those two things, we want people to stay within their own household, not associate with other households, and then we want to social distance whether we are in or outside of our household. So we also want to talk about grocery and shipping packaging. There's been some recent information that's been released regarding the grocery and shipping packages. It's been released in studies that the virus is detectable from hours to days on those types of items. Plastics and cardboards and things of that nature have different lifespans. The virus has different lifespans on those surfaces. So it's important to be aware of that, know that that's a possible contamination source, and that you take the appropriate actions on decontaminating those items. For more information on that, go to the STIHC Facebook page or the Makah EOC Facebook page, and you can find links to that'll walk you through some of the things that you do to protect yourself on those surfaces. So the other thing we want to talk about today is isolation versus quarantine. There's been a lot of questions around that. Want to try to clear up some of that. We know that can be confusing, but so for isolation, we're using the word isolation is for people who are already sick and showing symptoms, and means that the sick person stays away from all other members of the household. We want the sick person to use their own room if possible, use their own bathroom, and then people should always wash their hands, clean, sanitize, and do all of those things. Quarantine, how we're using quarantine in the community and for our orders and for our advice to you. Quarantine means you don't have symptoms, but because of likely exposure, you should have no contact with others. And we are receiving the advice from our public health officials that everyone should assume that the virus is here, is with us. And so we should be practicing these things at all times. But, once again, quarantine for the purposes of what we're using it for in our orders and what we're trying to educate the community on is that you don't have symptoms, but because of likely exposure, you should have no contact with others. Next, we want to talk about payday. Tomorrow is payday. We talked about that in the last address, and we really want you to think about those basic needs of your household. Please make sure when you do travel out of town, those of you that will, we know that some people will have to go outside of the reservation to meet some of their nutritional needs. So when you do, limit your travelers. Try to travel with just one person. Let's not make a family trip out of these types of excursions. Let's just have one person going out of town to the other communities to buy the needs that you need, your household needs, your cleaning supplies, and your nutritional needs. And then when you come home, it's important that you sanitize those items. Know that that's a potential contamination source. Wash your clothes, take a shower, wash your hands, and do all of those things that are being recommended by public health officials. We also want to let you know about fishing regulations. There have been some fishing regulations that have been out. There's been some effort by our fishermen to do some fishing harvests. If you have any questions on those fishing regulations, call Russell Savek, Makah Tribal Council Treasurer Patrick DePoe, or Tiffany Peterson. Once again, if you have any questions, call those fishery staff I just mentioned, and they can get you details on those fishing regulations. I want to point out today we had a meeting, and the Cape Flattery School District is serving over 800 meals a day to our youth, to K through 12 students in the community, and we just want to give them a big shout out for the work that they're doing and providing that nutritional need to those children, those school children out there. And in particular, the head cook, Lori Buttram's been doing a tremendous job. So Lori and your crew, thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Parkin, and all of your staff and your administrators that have helped put this plan together and are providing a needed service to our community. So I just wanted, if you happen to see them people on social media, give them a shout out and tell them thank you for what they're doing. Want to let you know about Makah Tribal Government operations. We're currently on work from home orders. The organization is still functioning. We are sent staff home, except those essential staff that have to report to work in places like your water, sewer, sanitation type services, IT, and healthcare fields. We want to thank all of those people that are coming in and providing those essential services to the community, and everyone else that's working from home and learning how to do things a little differently to still serve the needs of the community. So for our community, we are still functioning as a government, and our directors, managers, and all our staff are still finding other ways to contribute and serve our people. I just want to show an example of, here's a daily calendar, and if you see right there, that's today, March 26th. We had a call at 9 a.m. There's another call at 12:30, another one at 2:30, a 3 p.m. call, and a 4 p.m. call. So your council and directors and managers are covering those calls. A lot of those calls last anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, and we're taking down that information, taking down all the relevant information that we can pass along to the community that can improve our best practices in how we're serving our people and how we're protecting our people with the medical needs and the advice that's being put out there. So your government is very busy still working remotely over electronic media. It's a big change for us, and we're learning as we go, but we're managing it well. Just wanted to make sure that the people know that that's going on, and that your elected leadership, your directors, managers, and employees are very busy doing those activities. With that, I want to thank everyone for their time and look forward to getting through this together. Everyone take care, be safe, stay healthy. Sure.